Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Ever17, the Out of Infinity. Last time, stuff started going down and you and the kid were trying to escape. So, this is towards the beginning where crap's happening. And supposedly somewhere Takashi, Sugumi, and yeah, they're moving around somewhere too. Oh, and Coco, yeah. Yeah, actually I can't remember. But Coco's somewhere. Alright, anyway, something had just happened. I'm not sure what it is, specifically. But something happened. Just then it happened. The watertight doors at the four sides of the room began to close at once. The doors are closing. Ever so slowly, letting off a dull sound. You! You! I tried shouting and even shaking her harder, but there was no response. Oh yeah, that's right, she kinda got shell-shocked. That's right. Rather, Yu's body went limp and she collapsed to the floor. Hey! Quit goofing around, come on! I took Yu's arm and put it over my shoulder, lifting her up. I started walking toward the nearest watertight door. Yu was heavy like a stone. Don't tell her that. She seemed like the type that would karate chop you for that. Water pulled around both my legs and I couldn't move forward as fast as I wanted. Gradually, a steel partition slid down from above. Another one came up from below, pushing away water as it moved. They stopped. The stopped up water swirled around. As the width between the doors narrowed, the water level increased. Come on! Make it in time, please. Just make it in time. Sadly, the door didn't stop moving. There was only a small opening left for us to escape. Whoa, whoa! There's no way I'm going to die here. Man, don't say that. That's jinxing it right there. Giving a shout, I ran, pushing the water out of the way. Yu's slumped body weighed heavily on my shoulder, but I couldn't let go of her arm. I pulled together all my power. Almost there. Almost right there. With one hand I had grabbed hold of the edge of the... just barely. Just a few seconds after I had squeezed our bodies through a narrow gap, the watertight door closed completely. We placed our backs against the closed door and collapsed. There was almost no sense of relief, just a fraction apparently. Both of my legs were shaking and my heart was beating like it would explode. We spent a few moments there in a stupor. The next thing I knew, the seawater had mostly disappeared from the floor. That's not to say that it was completely dry, it was still wet. That is what... oh, wait, what did it say? I almost... okay, I forgot my joke. My body and Yu's body apparently were very cold. We're still soaked. Are you alright? You were really out of it until just a second ago. You were. You stood up and took her wet hair in hand. Wiping away the water droplets around her eyes with the palm of her hand. Give the give the water credit. Yes. Give the what word am I trying to think of? The non-human entity of the water credit for keeping your hide safe. We got swept into the next corridor over. Then all of a sudden the watertight door started to close. But you're all spacey. And to make things worse, you fainted. I got us out. Yep.
本当に
What? You don't believe me?
だって君ってほら助けるよりも助けられる方が似合いそうなタイプじゃない？
Thanks. You're also very awesome too. What? What's that supposed to mean?
あ、そうそう、冗談冗談。本当に助けてくれたんだったらお礼言わなきゃね。ありがとうございました。
You bowed her head slightly. Do you really mean it?
思ってるよ、多分。
Wow, the I guess really adds sincerity to the statement. You guess?
だから冗談だってば。すぐ真に受けちゃうんだから、この純情少年ね。
Youngin. Oh, whatever. Well, I suppose I owed you one anyway.
借り？
When I collapsed at the shop, you helped me, right? So now we're even. When I said that, Yu's face lit up in a smile. Anyway, enough of that. Let's hurry up and find an exit.
そうだね。またどこで浸水が始まるかわかんないし。
Yu was checking the ceiling and walls as she started walking. I followed along behind her. We cut across the wide room heading for the exit. There was a big empty mechanical merry-go-round. Without music or the voices of children playing, only its bright lights glowed in a lonely sort of way.
ねえ、そういえばまだ名前聞いてなかったよね。
Huh?
名前、君の名前。
Oh yeah, that. My name is...
ん？
I don't know. I don't know my name. My name. There's no way. It couldn't be. I should know it. It's my name, my very own name. Name. Then all of a sudden, Then all of a sudden, a shock shot through my whole body.
どうしたの？
My head hurt. It seemed like it would split right open. I held my head in both arms and crumpled forward. Oh, okay. That's kind of a weird statement to say he held it in both arms after saying it felt like it would split open, like he's holding it together with both hands. I don't know, just a weird visual image I just came up with.
大丈夫？
Grinding my teeth, I desperately tried to endure the pain. Darkness blanketed my eyes. I couldn't see anything, I couldn't hear anything. The darkness invaded my brain and glommed together. Glommed. Okay. It was a glob that would devour my... Oh, okay. Cool deal. And dissolve it into mush.
ねえ、しっかりしてよ。ねえ。
Yeah, the B is close to the M, so I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I didn't know my name. Who could I possibly be? The next thing I knew, I was on a bed. The ceiling was so wide it was slightly blinding. Man, this kid's lazy. All he does is lay around. Smelled of
気
disinfectant.
がついた？
A shadow passed above me on the bed. Gee, I wonder why she got such an opinion of him on needing to be rescued. If he wouldn't keep passing out and be hauled everywhere, people wouldn't think that about him. You looked at me as if she were worried. This is...
おかげさまでまた振り出しよ。
the beginning. The infirmary, huh?
ねえ、 今度から倒れる時にはこの部屋の近くにしてくれない？大変だったんだからね、君を背負ってここまで来るの。
Sorry.
あ、別に謝らなくてもいいんだけどさ。ところで思い出した？名前。
Name. That's right, my name.
ちょっと待っ
You gonna make him pass out again, ain't you?
て。無理に思い出そうとしなくていいから。
Thanks, because it'd be a pretty awkward cycle of every time he wakes up. She says, "Hey, what's your name?" And he passes out again.
またさっきみたいになっちゃうとあれだしね。
Very compassionate of you. You said it very carefully.
これからいくつか質問するけど、とにかく落ち着いて体を楽にして答えてほしいの。いい？
Sure.
まず今日の日付はわかるかな？
Today is the 1st. May the 1st, right?
日付は覚えてるんだ。じゃあ君の年齢は？
Age.
生年月日でもいいんだけど。
I tried hard to pull together the threads of my memory. My age, my birthday. When I started to think about it, my temples began to throb.
ほら深く考えないの。思い出せないなら思い出せないってそう言ってくれればいいだけだから。
But that didn't mean I could just stop thinking about it. I endured the headache as I felt like I wandered lost through a forest. There had to be an exit hidden somewhere. I just didn't know where.
オッケー、分かった。君は自分の名前も年齢も生年月日も覚えてないのね。住所や電話番号はどう？じゃなかったら家族のこととか友達のこととか何でもいいんだけど。やっぱり思い出せない？
It was just like you said. I didn't have any memories of anything. A sense of something not being right gnawed at my mind. No, it was something closer to a sense of loss. I felt that I had lost the bulk of my existence. Like someone had stolen me away, and the me that was left was just an empty shell. The me that was here, who knew if it was even the real me? The instant that thought went through my mind, I was frozen by an icy wave of unease. Scared, isolated, lonely. You. I grabbed firmly onto Yu's hand. Her warm palm. That warmth was the only thing saving me.
もう大丈夫だよ。男の子なんだからそんな泣きそうな顔しないの。
She shot me a smile as she squeezed my hand back.
記憶喪失ってそんなに珍しいことじゃないと思うよ。
Amnesia? Oh, dang it.
記憶がないんだから記憶喪失でしょ。当たり前だけど。
My middle finger gets heavy as as I'm have it on the mouse.
原因は何だろうな。気圧障害の関係か、どこかで頭を打っちゃったのか、それとも何か精神的な強いショックを受けたのかもしれない。例えば過激なアトラクションに乗って頭がパニクっちゃったとかさ。でも心配しないで、きっと一時的なものだからすぐに記憶は戻るはず。
Think so?
そうだよ。大事故にでもあって脳に致命的な損傷を受けたとかだったら別だけどね。どうもそんな感じでもなさそうだし。
You put her hand on my hair and gave me a smile so bright I almost needed sunglasses. Wow, that is pretty bright. That smile flooded into my heart, wiping away the remains of the unease that was swirling there.
さあ、そろそろ行こうか。
I'm definitely detecting that we're going to learn a lot about you this playthrough. Since the kid and her seem to be around each other quite a bit, and same thing in Takashi's playthrough. Yeah.
このまま子守歌でも歌って君を寝かしつけてあげてもいいんだけど、残念ながらそんなのんびりとしてられる状況じゃないのよね。わかるでしょ？
I nodded and got off the bed. You started walking for the door. My eye stopped on the bluish ribbon on Yu's back. The ribbon seemed to have taken on water and glittered brightly like the wings of a newborn fairy. I mean, I really like this game, but sometimes the descriptions are truly fascinating. So I'm gathering from the statement that the older a fairy is, the less their wings glitter. That's a fascinating observation that he's coming up with.
ダメ、開かないみたい。
You said that after trying to move the door with her weight several times. These were the emergency stairs, or more accurately, as a passage on the way there. The emergency stairs wound spiral-like around the fat pipe. If we followed these stairs, they would take us to the floating island, at least in theory. But now, right in front of us, stood a thick steel wall. The wall had a small watertight door, and if we couldn't squeeze through that, then we couldn't make our way any higher. This isn't the floating island yet, is it?
当たり前でしょ。それどころかエルストボーデンだってまだまだ先なんだから。
Ersty Bowden? Was that the basement floor 1? You nodded. What does that mean in terms of depth? How deep is it?
そうね。ツバイトストックが34メートルだから30メートル前後ってとこかな。まだ4、5メートルくらいしか登ってきてないもん、この階段。
90 feet deep. 90 feet sounded so close, but in any event, if the door didn't open up, then that was it. Hey, I wonder why it won't open.
さあね。呪文でも必要なんじゃない？
Yeah, that's logical sense right there. Spell? You mean like open sesame? That kind of spell?
またそうやって真に受ける。
Well, what then? Gotta remember, this guy's got amnesia. He might not understand logic very well. I don't know how amnesia affects logic. I mean, if somebody didn't remember something and you were to suddenly start telling them that they could cast spells and stuff, would they start trying to do that? Kind of like open sesame automatically opens doors. That could be very awkward.
教えてほしい？
Yeah.
聞かない方がいいかもよ。
Of course, well, I know there's different levels of amnesia, you know, but like the more severe cases, like this guy seems like it's more selective, you know. Huh?
どうするの？聞くの？聞かないの？どっち？
Sure, let's find out. Ask.
オーケー。なら教えてあげよう。さっき君はいきなり水密費が閉まり始めたってそう言ったよね。
Yeah.
つまりあの扉は自動閉鎖されたんだ。
Closed automatically?
浸水を感知したレミが危険なエリアの水密費を自動的に閉めちゃったってこと。
Sounds like witchcraft to me. Sounds like they need to cast the open sesame spell and other spells to stop it. What's LeMU?
このLeMU内のすべての電子的システムを統括管理しているメインコンピューター。その
Oops. So what?
だからね、きっとこれも
Clang clang, you knocked on the steel door with your lightly closed fist.
これもレミに閉められちゃったんだと思うの。
I see. So in other words, the other side of this door is flooded with water.
多分
She had been right, it really wasn't something I had wanted to hear. If the door were simply locked, all we had to do was find a way to open it and we could climb up to freedom. But if the other side was full of seawater, then thinking beyond that was no fun. So what do we do now?
他の非常階段を片っ端から調べてみる。それしかないでしょ。
You said it with a sigh and started heading down the stairs. After that, we tried 2 emergency sets of stairs in the area, but both were a waste of effort. They were shut off by the thick partitions, making it impossible to climb up the Zoite stop. According to you, there were a total of 12 emergency stairs in LeMU. 3 of those were closed off, so that left 9. You and I walked around the emergency corridor searching for those 9. But we met with a dead end. And a dead end. And a dead end. The watertight doors were completely shut and there was no way we were getting them open manually. We gave up and headed out into the normal corridors to see if we could work our way around using them. And still, we met with a dead end. And a dead end. And a dead end. Oh. The dead ends come in pairs in groups of 3. That would have been embarrassing. They come in pairs of 3. Inside the sprawling LeMU complex, there were a web of several dozen corridors. We investigated each, only finding closed doors everywhere. It seemed hopeless. Both the normal corridors and the emergency corridors were sealed. All were blocked off. The only thing left for us to try was...
トリットストック。下のフロアに降りてみるしかなさそうね。
With the elevators out of action, the emergency stairs were our only choice. Thankfully, 1/3 of the remaining 3 stairways was still operating, which meant that even if there was no going up, we could still go down. You and I wound around and around the spiral stairwell until we reached Street Stop. 3 floors underwater. Water? I remembered this without thinking when we reached the floor. As far as I could see, the floor was a sheet of water that had flooded in. It was about up to my ankles. There's water flooding in from somewhere else.
違うと思う。水が流れてないでしょ?
Now that she mentioned it, there was not even a ripple on the water surface. There was no evidence that the water level was increasing. I looked around to be sure, but there weren't any signs that water was leaking from anywhere. Well then, what is this?
さっきの私たちが巻き込まれた浸水のせいよ。ツバイトストックに溜まった海水がこのフロアに流れ込んだんじゃないかな。非常階段とか通気口とか、とにかくどこかの経路をたどってここまで流れ落ちてきたんだと思う。ほら、昔から言うでしょ。水は高きから低きへって。
We entered the room from a door along the corridor. The room's massive ancient remains were steeped in water, making it seem just like the seafloor had risen up. As you and I looked around the wide room, our legs splashed water all over. Our drenched clothes were drying, so we didn't really feel that cold. The water on the floor was not as cold as I'd expected, but somehow walking in the water in shoes was, well, unpleasant. Makes sense. Finally, when we turned it into a corridor, we heard an unexpected sound. Ooh, unexpected sounds. You gotta love them unexpected sounds.
ねえ、今なんか聞こえなかった？
We stopped and listened. That doesn't sound like a bam. I would think that sounds kind of like a tap. Tap would seem like it'd be a little bit more appropriate. Unless I just got the sound effects turned down too low. Somebody was hitting something. Somewhere nearby. There are other people here.
取り残された人がいるんだ。
Oh, she said it fast. We ran at full speed in the direction of the sound.
おーい、誰か！誰か！
Well,
いませんか？いませんか？
two girls' voices could be heard from within the elevator. You and I looked at each other and nodded.
ちょっと待ってて。今開けてあげるからね。うわー、よかった。このまま誰も来てくれないのかと思って心配してたんです。
The voice from inside sounded well. It didn't sound injured or weak. Agreed on that.
どうやって開ければいいんだろう。
You placed both of her hands on the door and pushed left and right.
もうなんで今日はこんな目にばっか会うのよ。
Want it open?
そんなの見ればわかるでしょ。ほら、ちょっと変わってってば。
I was just about to make that comment. Normally when somebody leans up against the door and they really strain and you probably see like their face turn red and a vessel pops from their temple, it normally means that they can't get the door open. I switched places with you and reached out to try to open the door. It didn't budge.
ほらほら、もっと気合い入れて。
I tried to put my fingers in the crack in the door, but my fingernails just barely squeezed in and there was nothing happening there. Oh. Blood started oozing from the nail of my index finger, but it was a digit next to that caught my eye. The thumb on my left hand. Hey. I have a thumb, I forgot. No, I'm pretty sure it's something different. I noticed a distinct mark on it. On the meaty part of the thumb was a deep scar about half an inch long. I wonder if I'd had that for very long. The mouth of the cut was swollen and milky white colored.
大丈夫？
Her question brought me back to reality.
あ、血が出てるじゃない。ちょっと貸して。
You grabbed my left hand. I suddenly bit my thumb under, hiding the scar. For some reason, I didn't want her to see it. Strange. You took an adhesive bandage from her pocket and put it on the bloody finger.
まったく、世話の焼ける子ね。
Thanks. My finger smelled faintly sweet.
まだ開きませんか？それから、もっと世話の焼ける子がもう一人。
What shall we do?
あ、そうだ。
You muttered. She searched around in her pocket for something, and she took out a... What did she take out? Sounds like they were wanting to leave you on a cliffhanger for the next episode. It's probably something pretty ridiculous knowing you. But, Takshi Sugumi. Then there's you and the kid. And Sora. And Coco. Sora wouldn't have trouble getting stuck in an elevator, and Sugumi is supposed to be with Takshi, so Hmm. Apparently, I was wrong about something, which should not be a surprise. Thought you might have to do a bit more than just what I did. Let's do what I did. I think. So, I'm gonna call it here, though. I do hope you folks enjoyed, and I shall return for the next episode, and we're gonna find out what she took out. She's like Segumi. She can make mysterious things materialize. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I shall return to the next one. Farewell, folks.